Good morning, and thanks for making ekaboom TV part of your morning routine.
I'm Ruben, and this is Joan Romero, and today we're going to talk about networking.
All right, so let's get down to business. Networking. What is networking in your business?
What
Are
is
you networking your business? It's
networking.
Connecting.
Networking is a very essential part for most businesses. If you ask most businesses where most of their customers or clients come from, chances are they're going to tell you word of mouth. Networking is one of the essential tools to getting your name out there, getting people talking about you and referring those customers and clients to you. So it can be essential. It's super, super important when you're just starting out. It's still important even as you have an established business. It can really be the lifeblood of your business, even more so than traditional advertising or maybe even doing stuff online. Is getting out there and networking.
Working on your net.
In a lot of ways, online marketing is just an extension of in-person networking. Right? That's why they call them social networks.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But so anyway, in preparation for this segment, I went and I looked up some tips from the internet about networking, and this is a article written about how to get real results from networking. So we'll see what we think about those
real results,
tips.
meaning more business.
I guess so.
Okay.
I would assume so.
Okay.
So networking tip number one is that networking should be about helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can all agree with that. Although you'll go to networking groups and you will find people that don't understand that concept. So it's important for you to make sure you do. It really is about helping out other people, finding out what their needs are, which is tip number 2. Find out what their needs are over your own.
I think this is one of the real divides in how people network is those who are there to see what they can get is probably a really immature business. Like either they're anxious and they got to get out there and they got to sell, or if you're there and you're there to see how you can help people, you're there to reach out. You're not looking for, what was the second one? That's number 4. I'll jump to number 4. That you don't expect anything in return necessarily. You're there to be, I think this is something that I'm getting from all of this, and maybe I'm jumping ahead, but so be it. Is that businesses are generous, which is the opposite of what is probably mainstream, because people will think that businesses are greedy, they take advantage of people, they take advantage of their workers, they're always charging too much, where in a lot of cases, if you're going to be a successful business, you have to be the opposite of that.
I think that's the key. Is not all businesses are generous, but the successful ones generally are, unless they have some sort of advantage in the marketplace and some type of unfair advantage over their competition.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right. Most of the time, a good business is generous. And so as you're growing your business, that should be your focus. When you go to networking, it's not about what you can get from them. It's about what you can give to them, how you can help other people. That's really what your business ultimately is about. How can you help other people? And this is one of my favorite tips in this whole list, which is it's not about knowing the most people, it's about knowing the right people. Knowing the right people, I think, is essential. And more so than knowing the right people is having the right people know you. And the only way they're going to remember and like and trust you and want to maybe send referrals to you is if you go and you have a very generous, very giving attitude. So you're there to help, you're there to contribute, you're there to build them up, to help them in any way you can.
So what's something you hear when people are referring you to someone is, hey, you need such and such? You should talk to so-and-so. He's a great guy. He's a great guy, he's honest, he does good work. Here's his card, here's his number.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what the networking is. Your business is an extension of yourself. So you yourself need to be there, be present, and be a generous person, and then you'll have that ripple effect.
Right, exactly. And so I think that also moves on to some of these other tips, which is you want to be in knowing the right people. You have to plan ahead. So you can't just leave your networking to chance. You go, you show up, you go home. You know, you have to really plan for who do you want to know, what kind of people do you want to know, who's your circle of influence? Because I think circle of influence can be some of your most powerful networking is when you find those right people that are the right people that can maybe refer other people to you. And again, a lot of people go to networking thinking, "Oh, I'm going to sell something to the people at the networking group." That's a bad attitude. You want them to often there are other business owners that can send you more people than working with them directly. So a great circle of influence if you are a plumber would be a painter. If you're a handyman, roofer, all those people. If you're a real estate person, a home inspector,
So you
and
compliment
a mortgage
people who
person.
compliment what you do, like an
people
extension.
people that compliment. It's easy to give a referral to a mortgage broker if you're a real estate agent. It's easy to give a referral to a plumber if you're a handyman. So those kinds of networks can be your most powerful personal networks. That doesn't mean that you should ignore and be rude to everyone else. And this is another thing is even if someone isn't within your sphere of influence, they're in a field they can't use your services. They don't really interact with a lot of people that could use your services. Don't dismiss them as being irrelevant. Maybe maybe their brother works in an industry that could be helpful. Maybe they know people for whatever reason that could help you in some way. So never take anyone for granted or
Yeah, you really have to do some internal work on yourself because when you're networking, who you are comes out because you're talking about your day to day or your beliefs about things or whatever. And people will notice from across the room how you're treating other people. And even if they're like, oh, maybe he runs an okay business, but you know what? He's such a jerk. I don't feel good telling my friends about this guy because I wouldn't want to work with him. So just be nice.
Yeah. Another thing is now this is sort of, a lot of this stuff is sort of kindergarten, Sunday school stuff. These are the things you should have learned when you were, 5 and 6.
Use your manners.
Right, exactly. But praise people also.
Okay.
When you're talking with people, find out what's good in their business, and if you see something that's unique or powerful, let them know that you think that that's pretty awesome. Complimenting someone's business is the same as complimenting them. Because if you say, "Wow, you've got such a great business," you guys, really figured things out, or this or that or whatever. If someone says that to me, I take that as a personal compliment, not as oh yeah, that's my business. That's
and how do you feel about that person who's making that compliment?
Yeah, I mean that definitely endears me to people that compliment my business or whatnot.
So you're more likely to want to work with them or
refer
them to other people.
So praise people, find good things to say about them, and probably the most important thing when it comes to networking is following up with people. You should absolutely follow up with people. If you don't follow up with people, you're really only getting about 2 to 3% of the effectiveness out of your networking. If you really want to have it be powerful, follow up, and it's not about following up with them to sell to them. Try to think about how you can help them. Follow up, say, "Hey, you were telling me about such and such. I think I might know someone who might be able to help you with that." So even if that's not you, try to connect people, try to help people.
Or I'm trying to understand
idea.
more because I heard some other people talking about such and such. Is that something you could help them with, or is it different? I mean, just looking for more information and more clarity too is a good way to follow up because people love talking about what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have anything else to follow up with, like where you can help them, absolutely follow up with something where you are just looking for more information. Say, "Hey, look, I've been trying to think about who I can send your way for your business, but I'm not clear about this, or I have some additional questions." And don't be afraid of following up with people. There's multiple ways of doing it nowadays. You can do it through social media. You can do it via email. You can call them. But follow up with them and connect with them. Meet with them again. So if you met with them in a larger networking setting, meet with them on a one-to-one basis because that is going to help firm that relationship.
Yeah, have lunch.
Absolutely.
Sit down, have a meal, talk to them.
And if someone's not
Good stuff.
interested, that's fine. You don't have to in what you do. Take no for an answer. Don't try to keep selling them. But if they don't say no, also don't be scared or afraid to continue to follow up with them. Often people will, I've had it where someone's trying, follows up with me. I don't get back to them right away. They follow up with me a second time, and for whatever reason, it didn't quite work. Where I forgot or I got busy or something. And, it's not that I didn't want to follow up with them. It's simply that you know, other things came up and it just slipped my mind. So when they followed up with me the second time, I said, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you followed up with me. So don't be afraid of following up with people, even 2, 3, 4, 5 times if they don't get back to you. Let them say no. Especially if you're growing your business, you want to know. If they say no, that's fine, but like give them a chance at least. Continue to follow up with them until they have a chance to say no.
So the people who may have the hardest time with networking, or who may find it most intimidating or scary, might be introverts. So what do you recommend?
It is true. An introvert can sometimes struggle with networking because they feel like networking is all about small talk, and often introverts find small talk to be tedious and unnecessary and a real drain on their energy. I'm an introvert. Did I say extrovert? I said introvert.
Yeah, you said
introvert. If I didn't, that's what I meant. I'm an introvert. It is difficult for me to do small talk, to have small talk with people. To kind of talk I love talking about business though. I love talking about what I do. I love even just giving people free information. How can I help them? What can I give them? In fact, I had one person, I was at a networking group. It was a better business. No, not a better,
BNI?
no, anyway,
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce, that's it. So I was at a Chamber of Commerce. I was talking to a guy. I looked at his website and I said, hey, look, you got to change this, 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 and this. And but this one thing is the most important thing. Go and change that today. So he went back. Apparently he talked to his webmaster. He calls me a year later and says, hey, look, I just want to let you know that I changed what you told me to, and now I'm all over the internet. My competition doesn't know how I'm getting all this business. I'm getting calls where he's in Buffalo. He's getting calls from New York City where he's charging them 3 times as much to go and do the same service. So he's just like, thanks, and so I love that. I love that I could be there. I could help him. I could tell him what to do. He went and did it, and that's really how networking should work. You're trying to find ways.
Now maybe he would refer people to you if he ever found someone who said.
I would imagine so. So
talk to this guy.
But back to the introvert topic is that I, as an introvert, struggle with those kinds of small talking situations. So I don't like networking groups where I don't know anyone. I don't like networking groups where I'm just meeting people for the first time.
Did you know someone at the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, I did know some people there. I had been invited, so it was a little bit easier for me to go and talk to people.
So you had a few familiar faces.
And I can go and I can talk to new people. I mean, I'm not a severe introvert. I can go and I can talk to people. Like in our introvert segment, really what that means is it's just draining for me to go and do some of these things. But one of the things that is much easier for me is to join a smaller, more intimate networking group that meets less often, or more often. So
regularly,
regularly,
it's a structured
right.
time. It's on the calendar.
Right, as opposed to the ones that meet less often. So I like to because what that does for me as an introvert, it allows me to get to know people on a more intimate level. It's a lot easier for me to relate with them. It's a lot easier for me to talk with them than it is for me to go out there and start brand new relationships, brand new conversations.
If you've known these other people for years, if you just jump in one day and say, hey.
Right, and then
they know you, so it's okay.
And with the other situations, there's more of a pressure to follow up, more of a pressure on me to go out of my comfort zone. With a smaller networking group that meets regularly, something like a BNI or another group, you're sort of set up to meet with them regularly. You're set up to meet with them individually. You're set up to, to get to know them on a more intimate level. And so that really, really works well for me because that's where my energies are. So if you're an introvert, I highly recommend you find a local. It could be a meetup group, it could be BNI, but an intimate group that meets regularly, that encourages sort of one-to-one interaction, and I think you'll be a lot more successful doing that.
Awesome. Well, networking, it's important. Share your comments below. Let us know what you think. Thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting below.
Have a great day.